Hi everyone. Okay, today back with another video, and I think for today's video we'd like to do something special. We just had our wedding, even though I'm not wearing the wedding band now.
I am.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought that it would be a good time after the wedding to now kind of share some of our experiences and learnings. Maybe someone who watch this video will find it useful. Okay, so for the date and the venue, this is the very first thing that you decide when you first plan your wedding, right? Our wedding lah. Okay, so for us, right, I think in terms of securing the date and venue, what were the considerations you had?
For the date, we chose that particular date because it happened to be our anniversary.
Yeah,
And
so one
then-
less date to remember.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
but because that date just happened to be over a long weekend and it kind of worked well for our schedules, so
Yeah.
we kind of decided whether we want to have it in a hotel or in a restaurant. So that was the first thing we decided, and once we have a few venues in mind, and actually just one of them, and then we went down to see the restaurant in person just to get a feel and how the space looks like.
So if you're like us and you want to have your wedding date coinciding with a public holiday long weekend, then you really have to make sure that you do it early lah. For us, we actually locked in our date, I think about 1 year in advance, which is quite typical. Actually, I think we went more than 1 year in advance.
Yeah.
And they already told us that the date was quite popular. But okay, then again, that one could have just been their kind of scare tactics to get us to quickly lock in the date and venue with them. I think a tip here would be when you're planning your venue, try to at least be able to get a realistic sense of your pax count so you can book a suitable venue and you don't have to struggle like us later. Which basically on our side, we had to ensure that even with our reduced pax count, we were still able to secure the minimum spend to essentially have the whole restaurant booked. Yeah.
I think generally we can expect a 10 to 15% dropout rate in general.
Yeah, okay. The next is on the vendors. So this one maybe you can go through what we did first.
Okay, so for the vendors wise, like for weddings, what we can expect to have will be the photographer, the videographer, and the gowns for the bride. Why we want to look into exploring the vendors early is because they usually have a lot of packages, and there's a lot of wedding fairs around actually all year round, and like it just depends on what kind of deals you want. Like it will involve having the pre-wedding shoots, actual day photo, actual day video, and you may not get the photographer or the videographer you want, so it's good to find them early. Depending on what kind of vibe you want to have for the photos, or if there's a particular vendor you like, and you just have to look out and even reach out to them, ask them if they have any like packages, ask them if they are available, most importantly, because now you lock in the date already. I think for us, what we had done really well was because we kept a lookout for Instagram promotions, so we managed to find this particular bundle for 2 vendors, and they included photography and videography on
Yes.
the actual day, and it came with 2 gowns from their partner gown studio. It was really nice because everything was settled, and because all the vendors know each other, and it was kind of easy to work with. I feel.
Yeah, we got it at a very competitive rate. Like, if you all want to know, you all can just reach out to us separately. Okay.
I guess for tips for the bride, right, if you are having like decision paralysis and you don't know which gown you want, right, the tip is to go for something light and shorter trains, because it's easier to walk in, it's easier for you to sit down. At least that's for me. I prefer something that's fast free, but if you like something very elaborate, go for it, it's your day. And I think what we can do better, I feel like we could have, or at least for myself, I could have gone down to different gown places to have a sense of how the gowns are like, and especially the sizing, because for the gown shop I went to, unfortunately they don't have sizes that are larger, so a lot of designs which I really like, and like I envision myself wearing those gowns, right, I couldn't fit into those. So if you have the time, and just go down to a few gown places, there's a lot of shops that offer you first time free fitting, and that can help you to like get an idea of what kind of silhouette you want for your gowns.
Okay, the other one that I can quickly touch on before we move on to the next point, right? On the vendors, a lot of them we went through Instagram. They are not really publicized merchants. Essentially, most of our payments were done via PayNow lah. Because these payments were still of a pretty large quantum, I think if we could have learned about some of the cut up tricks that were involved, right? We could have converted some of this pay now spending into credit card spending, then use that to help to clock some credit card rewards and points. Yeah. So it's just a tip for some of you there who are trying to optimize spending like me. One thing that we didn't touch on earlier, vendors and date and venue, right? We did it early because those are your large ticket spendings, and if we do it early, because we had booked it in 2023 for our wedding in 2024, we were able to lock it in at the lower GST rate. Now moving on to hotel.
So the hotel, because I had this promotion, and then we managed to get a very nice suite. The hotel was like great because it was at a very convenient location. It's just walking distance from the MRT. Went down to recce the place again just to see whether it's worth it to stay in the regular room or the suite. Personally, I like the larger room because like it's the wedding, and then you know we have a lot of things. There's so many items to bring back, and it's really less stressful to have a bigger room. Yeah.
There was a bit of debate over whether we wanted a smaller or larger room, but in the end we went with the larger room. I think in the end just happy wife, happy life, right? I think what was useful for us was because our hotel was really near the ATM location, so in terms of like all your ang pao money, it was very convenient for us to do all the money deposit. Anyway, for a pre-wedding shoot, right, so this was one of the few places which I felt that we could achieve some kind of cost savings. We actually got one of my friends to help out with the pre-wedding shoot. Some people might have a bit of reservations. I'm sure she had reservations as well because that was my friend. She didn't know what was the quality of the pre-wedding shoot photographer, right? Yeah, my friend is basically just a freelance photographer lah. Yeah, but basically I think the reassurance that we kind of got was that we tried to plan our pre-wedding shoot very early into our wedding planning process. So in the event where the pre-wedding shoot didn't turn out as ideal as our expectation, right, we can still choose to have a separate pre-wedding shoot done later. For pre-wedding shoot, right, if you're going to use your friend's service for help, right, just be a bit mindful that there will be some things that you have to help to plan. So for us, like we had a bit of hiccup at the location. The logistics was a bit challenging on the pre-wedding shoot day, I recall. So this one, actually one of her friends actually volunteered to help, but I think she was paiseh. She turned down the help. But I think here my advice is for those of you who pre-wedding shoot, your friends are okay to help out, right? Just accept the help because you're going to need it. Otherwise it's going to be very taxing physically. You're going to be sweating a lot during the actual pre-wedding shoot. Okay, next one, wedding favor.
Okay, so wedding favors, I believe in giving our guests something that's useful or edible. So you don't want to get like keychains from a wedding, right? I really don't like that personally. So I suggested giving honey because it's symbolic, it's sweet, it's nice, you can bring home to eat, and then like there's a lot of vendors that can customize wedding favors like honey for you. Same thing, I went online to search and then I found a vendor overseas, actually in Malaysia. They can custom like honey favors for you, so that's what I did. Of course, it's way more reasonably priced, but I felt like I could have done some customized printing because we were just busy and I forgot about customizing it. So yeah.
Also, this was something that was offered by our restaurant actually, but we swapped it out. We wanted to do our own wedding favors. This is just a personal preference. Yeah.
It's really up to you.
Okay, next on decoration.
Decorations, I didn't really want so many things. But
and also I was trying to cut down the cost on decorations.
So like the only way we can cut down cost was either through there's a lot of places we can cut, but I didn't want to cut. So decoration was one of the places I can compromise. And mostly I did a lot of DIYs. We have our typical photo frames out there, and then there was some recycled decorative trinkets. And then what was amazing was because he gave me quite a bit of gifts during our
dating
hardcore
phase.
days.
Yes.
So we used all of those as like decorations because it's quite symbolic also.
So tips for the guys there. I mean, like when you are getting your girlfriend's gifts, right? Basically, learn to be resourceful with your gifts. I think she was super resourceful, right? In the end, our decorations turned out great. Maybe I'll put a footage or something. Actually, a lot of it you cannot really tell that it is just done for the wedding. I mean, you would think that the decorations are done just for the wedding, but actually those were some of our gifts from the past. Some photo frames and stuff. So we just basically we were very resourceful with
But it's also helpful that our restaurant, as part of the wedding package, they had a vendor who did our event decoration. So like the stage was decorated with flowers. They even provided like the centerpiece for the VIP tables and for the reception
Yeah,
tables.
so
and
also
the
check
aisle.
with your restaurant on
You can save a lot on
what they are providing and make sure there's no overlap. I think it was under $100. Basically, we kept it very competitive for decoration, so I think that was really well done. And also talk to your own groomsmen and bridesmaids. For us,
Have an
we have
idea.
very strong decoration team. Yeah, they were very resourceful. That's a way on to net this off. Okay, next on Solemnizer. Actually, we just went along with the Solemnizer that did her brother's wedding. Yeah, so we have kind of a gauge of the Solemnizer's performance really. I think this is also quite a tip that we see a lot in wedding forums. Essentially, is if you already have a friend recommendation, a personal recommendation for the Solemnizer, you can just go along with that. Because at least it's something that's familiar. Initially, I had my reservations because I think she had some schedule clashes that were not fitting well into our intended program. But in the end, she did the job well. One thing that I think could be improved for the Solemnizer is that essentially I think what caused a lot of friction during the planning process was, like I mentioned, there were schedule issues. This was really because I would say we were quite obstinate with the Solemnizer. We picked the Solemnizer knowing that the Solemnizer had a clash in our program schedule, and it caused us quite a bit of headache to put it short. But thankfully it worked out in the end. But something I would have done better is, I think, first have your program down and make sure your Solemnizer fits the schedule first before you lock in the Solemnizer. Because for us, we lock in the Solemnizer and then we had to plan the program around the Solemnizer, which was a bit challenging.
I guess it boils down to your priorities, whether you want to have a preferred Solemnizer or you prefer to have a smoother program planning,
correct,
and then you
correct.
fit the Solemnizer
Yeah,
inside.
I mean, correct lah.
So-
To her point, if the Solemnizer is really the one that you want, then I guess no choice. Okay, next is program planning. Very briefly, our wedding program just involves fetching the bride. We didn't do much of a gatecrash, but then essentially we had our tea ceremony at the restaurant, and then we proceeded with the actual day banquet at the restaurant. Essentially, with most of this kind of weddings where you are traveling from one location to the other, typically you'll need your help of your bridal party to ensure that things go smoothly. So for us, I think our bridal party was superb on the execution during the day itself. But I think to our credit as well, and this one, the bridal party, if you all are watching, you all can disagree. But I felt that what helped in the whole planning process was that we actually did a deck for our bridal party. Most couples, they don't actually do this presentation slides. Ours was like a full-fledged presentation, telling them like, okay, like a meeting, you do this, you do that, okay. And we were very open to feedback, we adjusted our slides and so on. And that's just on the bridal party side. Between the two of us, I think we always met up in person. I felt like we didn't spend excessive time planning, but we made sure that every session that we met up, right, we were able to get very good incremental value. Okay, so for pre-banquet activities, we decided on no gatecrash and tea ceremony at the restaurant. We still don't regret the decision. The decision on no gatecrash saved us a lot of time. There was a bit of miscommunication on the day itself. So what happened on the day itself?
Apparently for my makeup artist, she provided groom makeup. So when he arrived, we had to get him to come in to do his makeup, and then it was a bit more rushed. Also, my makeup took a bit longer than normal.
So be sure to buffer more time for that.
Yeah, correct. So
and going back to the tea ceremony point, right, precisely because the makeup took longer than usual, right, because we decided not to do a gatecrash, we were able to compress some of the time and make sure that everything remained on schedule. The long story short is, if you don't need to do a gatecrash, we strongly suggest don't do a gatecrash. Give your bridal party an easier time, and you can have less logistic stress, you ease your timing a bit more. Tea ceremony, we did it at a restaurant. I think this one was still a bit messy. The only suggestion I can give here is really just make sure, if possible, I think her family side was done very well. They listed the names in order, but my side, the names were not listed in order, so that was something that I could improve from. We probably need an alarm or timekeeper to help us to keep track of all these pre-banquet activities, because it was quite stressful on the day itself. But thankfully everything went well. So after the tea ceremony, before the actual banquet, okay, I think for this one, just be prepared and be very familiar with all the sequences and details. What I think will really help you, because as the bride and groom, you'll be very busy on the actual day itself. Try not to keep all the info to yourself. Just share openly with your bridal party so that they can be your line of defense. They can be your first line of defense. Because I can tell you on the wedding day itself, basically there were like 101 people coming to me with all sorts of different questions, and I had to context switch like crazy to answer everyone's questions because I had all the info, and that's something that I really advocate. Okay, next one, banquet activities. I think it's the last one. Okay, take it away.
Okay, so for the couples, it's your moment during the march in. Walk slowly. Okay, so your photographer
because I
can
walk a bit
capture.
fast. Yeah.
His legs are long. So let the photographer capture your photos, let the videographer capture your video. So enjoy the moment. You only have that few seconds, okay? And then like there were videos done. This amazing husband, he did all of the videos that we showed during the banquet. So
Yeah.
and it was even planned way beforehand, like during the proposal. We even like he used the proposal video. It was so good.
Yeah.
Okay, and then for the speech, the most iconic speech, he suggested to write the speech way in advance and practice.
Yeah, don't do last minute like a lot of other couples.
You will cry, okay?
Yeah.
Even like I am a very emotional person. I think about what I want to say and I cry. But I followed his advice and then I wrote my speech way in advance and then I started practicing and I didn't cry.
Yeah, basically I think a lot of the times when people cry is because they are not prepared for actually delivering the speech that they have drafted. Yeah. So I think preparation really helps to help to manage the emotions. Okay, last one in photo taking. This is referring to the wedding lunch photography where you're going around the tables taking photos. I think this one, having a schedule really helped us. We essentially told the groomsmen exactly, okay, which tables we're going to at which point in time. And that really helped us a lot because the groomsmen knew what they had to do. They were able to inform our guests to tell us, okay, you guys are coming next in the photography, so get ready and so on. So we were able to do it very smoothly. We actually had quite a tight timeline on the restaurant booking. So basically our wedding lunch started at 12:30, we had to end by 3 p.m. And the way our programs were planned, we basically only had 20 minutes for our photo taking. So we couldn't afford to have people who were missing from their tables and we had to wait for them to come back. Yeah, long story short is, just make sure you have a schedule.
Okay. And also good to have the photo of like the path of where you're going. I think it helps a bit.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so okay, I think we are kind of rushing for time now. Hopefully we didn't skim through any pointers too little. Yeah, but anyway, got any questions, just let us know. Okay, finally we managed to get this video done.
Yes!
Okay, and thank you for watching. Okay, see you. Bye bye.